Welcome, everybody, to the U16 Pod. I'm Ryan MacArthur.
And I'm Connor Williams. And on the last episode of the U16 Pod, we covered the SCTA. Did a little second half preview of what's to look forward to, what there is to look forward to, rather, for the second half of the season in the SCTA there. We had three phenomenal interviews with forward Parker Forlan from the Niagara North Stars, defenseman Hudson Gill from the Burlington Eagles, and goaltender Finn Wilson from the Niagara North Stars. So definitely go check that episode out if you haven't seen it yet. But we'll get into this episode today. We're covering the Alliance today and a little second half preview of the Alliance. But before we get into this episode in the Alliance here, we did want to address something that's been going on and some disgusting stuff and terrible acts that have been going on past couple weeks in hockey. First, to start off with a racist act towards Boku Mama in the AHL, and then this past week, really recently at this point at the time of our recording here, racist act by Jacob Panetta towards Jordan Subban. I came across it while I was on Twitter. I saw PK Subban put it on his timeline. Just the main point I want to get across, just the gestures Jacob Panetta made were terrible, disgusting. The racism that exists. It'd be naive to say I'm surprised, because at this point, I'm not surprised. You can't be surprised at this point with the amount of stuff, because the amount of ignorance that's been going on. Quite frankly, there needs to be change in hockey culture. Any sort of discrimination, whether it be racism, homophobia, any sort of discrimination, it just needs to be taken out. There needs to be change in hockey culture, and we hopefully there'll be more action as we look forward to making some change in hockey culture here. Yeah,
those two situations were absolutely despicable. There's no place in the game for that. There's no place in this world for that. People need to be better than that. It's just, it breaks my heart just thinking about what Subban was going through in that situation. It's despicable, right? There's no excuse for it. Any form of racism is hateful. Like, even if you're at the rink and I mean you're talking to some people and, like, I don't know, sometimes there might be some comments or whatever. Don't be a bystander to that. Like, speak up, say, you know what, I don't think that that's appropriate to say, because, like, every little thing matters. Like, every little thing matters in making this change, and everyone needs to be accountable for that.
No, absolutely, so well said there. And just like it's the slogan. I remember early in the pandemic, they were selling the shirts and the sweaters there that change hockey culture, and we just hopefully we look forward to enacting some changes as we get these despicable, disgusting, terrible acts of racism and discrimination out of the game here. So, and out of hockey culture and changing hockey culture overall. So we'll move on here into covering the Alliance now and previewing the second half of the season. And as we look at the Alliance here, it starts off at the top of the standings right now with the London Junior Knights, who have kind of had their way. They started the season at the top, and they've kind of just been flowing along at the top here. Really had a successful season so far. And it really starts overall. You look at the 207s. We've talked about them numerous times. Ethan Weir, Ryan Rubrick, just phenomenal players they are. And then I'd also put in there, they're draft eligible, probably their top player in my opinion, in terms of the impact he's had overall and the way he plays. Jet Luchenko at the forward position there. The energy he plays with, the drive, the hustle, and the way he's able to create chances with his speed and acceleration. Those three kind of have put themselves in a little separate tier there in terms of what the impact they've managed to have. But London's a team that's got a lot of depth overall, and they've shown it throughout the season here.
Yeah, definitely. You mentioned the 207s, Weir and Robrook. Robrook is really exceptional. He's really doing well this year. And speaking of exceptional, there's a rumor that he's applied for exceptional status. So I believe right now the only two in the mix for potentially doing that, or the only two that have applied, are Robrook and Misa, but I could be wrong. So we'll see what happens there in regards to this draft. But yeah, like the rest of the London teams, the 06s, Jet Luchenko, man, he's unbelievable. Like you just referenced him. We've been impressed with him since the summer, since we first got looks. Really, really elusive and dynamic, and he makes really, really like jaw-dropping plays. Really good dangler. So we had Brodie McConnell-Barker. So we have an interview with him later. So we'll save the analysis on him for now. And yeah, just a good deep team. You know, like I just looked down this list, and I like Harrison Branson. He's a solid centerman on their team. Just a good team overall, like really, really kind of deep.
No, absolutely. And I mean, just to put in a few more players in the mix there, I mean, Talon Palmer as well has been a solid player
Yeah.
for them, 28 points this year for London. Um, Liam Spencer in defense has been a solid defender for them. Duncan Thompson, I liked in the silver stick there. Mason Landry, Cole Collins, they've all been impactful players. Matthew Soulier as well. You also got Gavin McGahey-Smith, who came over from Elgin. Has been an impactful player this year with the way he plays and his physicality that he plays with, and the way he's able to impact in the forecheck in that aspect there. But London, like we mentioned there, countless times here so far and throughout the season, they've got a deep team and they've been impactful and they've really had a successful season so far in the Alliance, and they've had successful tournaments. They made the quarterfinals in their own Wendy Duffin tournament. They had a solid silver stick where they just missed the quarters in the silver stick. They were in a really tough division, as we talked about. They only lost 1-0 to that Quinny team. So really successful season so far to London. Definitely a team who's going to be in the mix to take that Alliance crown. And I think it'd be safe to say they're probably a lock to make that OHL Cup there come, I guess, March 30th. I think I'm remembering correctly for that OHL Cup. And that
I don't know if
aspect.
they have a date yet. They haven't cited it at least, but
Okay.
the draft is actually going to be end of April. I tweeted that out a while ago. Actually, we should have mentioned that at the start, or a past episode. But so end of April. So the timing for the OHL Cup could be a bit different. But hey, did you see March 30th somewhere?
I think I saw March 30th somewhere in one
Cool.
of those rankings the OHL puts out regarding
Okay.
the OHL Cup there. So I think it's March 30th, but we will
Tentative.
tentative. Well,
Don't take our word for it.
Everything's tentative in this
Yeah,
day.
yeah, everything's tentative. Like even that draft date at the end of April, that was just the date they came up with at a recent GM meeting, and everything's subject to change in this world, right? The way we're living right now.
So, anyways, we'll get back into. We'll move down to the next team in the Alliance right now. The second place team right now in the standings is Elgin. Elgin's had a really solid season. They had a slow start, but they went on a roll late in the season
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
With their performances, they actually had a really solid silver stick as well. They've got some really good players on their team, and for me, it starts off with Dylan Richter at the forward position, and Colin Langstaff, I think, as well, Ryan.
Yeah, Langstaff is so fast. Really, really speedy forward, really quick and electric. Dylan Richter is kind of that complete center. Got a good motor, 200-foot center. And man, at the silver stick, I saw him go bar down on a breakaway. Like he's a high-end finisher too. Like these two are really, really high-end prospects. And just like London, like a very deep team. They made the final of that London tournament, and they've had good showings like every time I've been out to see them, and kind of look down their roster here. There's quite a few good players. It's just like Ethan Facina is one that stands out for me. Just a kind of tall, good stride length, good player. And there's several others as well. It's just a good team.
Absolutely, and I think it also Caden Kerr on defense, Rene Van Bommel, Cole Dotterman have had impactful seasons so far, and it also for me starts with it also continues with the impact they've had with one of their goaltenders specifically, and their goaltending overall, but one of their goaltenders, Carter Froggett, has had a phenomenal season so far in the Alliance, and he's been a really impactful goaltender and a difference maker in the crease there for them. And I think as with the combination of forwards and defense they've had and the goaltending in the crease there, that's helped vault them to the second seed so far in the Alliance here. So it's going to be exciting for them as it kind of in the Alliance standings there. It really starts getting going there in terms at that second position. I mean, Elgin's only a couple points behind, but London's sort of separated themselves in some sense with the way they've played. But it's still anyone's game in terms of that top seed in some sense, and that second seed and third seed are really close coming there because Elgin's got 29 points right now, and then you look right below them, and we'll get to the next team now. The Windsor Jr Spitfires have 28 points and actually have a slightly better win percentage because they got a game at hand on Elgin. So really, it's anyone's flip flopping as we get the second half going here. You win one game, one team loses, and you're swapping places here. And Windsor's had a really good season so far. I mean, we talked to Josh Lepane after the Waterloo tournament. He really highlighted how they've really come together as a group, and they've really found their kind of mojo and really been getting better as the season progresses. And we've seen it countless times. And we have a Windsor player on this episode as well, goaltender Connor Davis. So we'll save him for a bit later, as he's been a big impactful goaltender for them and a big difference maker throughout the season so far for them. But like I mentioned, Josh LePain's been a really big difference maker for them this season. Nathan Agastinas has also been really impactful for Windsor there, Ryan.
Yeah, Windsor's a good team. Like, it's really tight at the top, between the top three. And Windsor's right in the mix. Like, definitely a contender to make the OHL Cup. London, yeah, you're right. London's probably a lock. But I mean, yeah, Windsor will definitely be in the mix. It wouldn't surprise me to see them there whatsoever, because you got all these good players like Josh LePain, really good, powerful player. We talked about him in that previous episode, like you mentioned, so check that out if you want more info on him. But other players on this team, Griffin Grudner, he's a good finisher, a good player, like kind of diminutive forward, but really quick and kind of gets the spots, and a good finisher, a good player. A player I've mentioned on the pod before that I really like is Stefan Georgievic. Really impactful. He's a game breaker. He makes a lot of difference in the games for sure.
Absolutely. And also another player I'll also toss in there, Connor Chartrand as well in that aspect. And Tyler McGuire as a D has also been impressive in various games this year as well on defense there for Windsor. But like I mentioned earlier, it's tight at the top of the standings there, and it definitely doesn't slow down as we jump into kind of the next group who's kind of huddled together, because after that you got the Huron Perth Lakers,
Right.
who, after a tough silver stick, I mean, they were in a tough group, being within the same group as the Sens there. They've really had a solid season. They've tied top teams. They've really played some good games, really solid efforts. And for me, I think you'll agree with me, for me, they're led by their top player, I think, in Tate Vader for Huron Perth there.
Yeah, Tate Vader is unbelievable. Great motor, 200-foot player, right? He gets up and down the ice fast. Like, he'll get up and down the ice with speed, kind of always in the play, always engaged, and then he'll even get off to the bench quick for a change. Like, he's got energy. Like, I don't know where he gets all the energy from. He's got a great, not only the motor, but the stamina, and a kind of a complete game. Like, he's got a good shot, good player. Other guys on the team that have stood out, like Atlee Rogers, Caleb Bauer, Blake Elzinga. Those are other ones that are pretty solid. Just like a really good kind of deep team. Like they just, like, it seems like every time out they're kind of like a tough game, and like those top guys are kind of really driving things for them, right?
Absolutely, and Keenan Middleton also in that mix there for them, in that aspect.
Yeah, for
for
sure.
them. But
Defenseman,
like you mentioned there, just a deep team overall, and they always put out a high effort. They're a tough team to play against, and they've really had some successful games this year. They've had a successful season so far, and definitely looking forward to a second half from them, as they could easily hop into that mix with Windsor and Elgin, as they're only 4 points behind Windsor right now. So it's really anyone's game. And speaking of anyone's game here, the Brantford 99ers. Right after Huron Perth there, and they've got some games at hand of those top teams. They've got 23 points, and really they've got 3 games at hand on the top 2 teams, and they've got 2 games at hand on the other 2. So a couple wins, 2 or 3 wins here. Brantford's really back up at the top of the standings there, and they've got some impactful players. Brantford does, and it starts with the captain, Lucas Karmiris, who we'll get into a bit more later on, because we got a phenomenal interview with Lucas coming up later on. So we'll take a pause on Lucas for a bit, but we'll hop into the other group of players who are phenomenal. And for me, it also gets going with Merrick Banneker and Braden McCallum on Brantford, who are 2 phenomenal players and who have been driving a lot of the play this season for Brantford there.
Oh yeah, like, I mean, you mentioned Karmiris. We're going to talk about him more. He's got a cousin on the team, Tommy Karmiris. He's another really, really good player, kind of really dynamic, and makes a lot of stuff happen. I liked him a lot in the summer. He's playing with that Prodigy Black team. Also on that team was Braden McCallum. Man, just really quick, kind of flashes of brilliance, where like he when he puts it together with his speed and skill, he can make really, really high-end plays. And Tommy Karmiris, McCallum, they're both kind of like that. And Banneker's big and powerful. You mentioned him. Just a good team, right? Like, I think that they probably have a better chance to make the OHL Cup, probably slightly better than like Huron Perth. Their win percentage is a little bit higher. Like, it it wouldn't surprise me at all if they made the OHL Cup. Like I'd actually be hoping that they'd be there. They're one of my favorite teams to watch, Brantford for sure.
Absolutely, and we got to watch their phenomenal game against Spawn in the
Yeah.
Silver Stick there in that
It was
round
such a good
robin.
game.
And it was, although they
And,
lost that game, it was a phenomenal effort from both teams and just a crazy game overall.
Crazy.
From Brantford. So there's a lot to look forward to for Brantford. Lots
Yeah.
of potential and opportunity in the second half of the season there from Brantford. So moving down the standings, and just below Brantford is Waterloo. Waterloo, not quite the same team as necessarily the 05s that we were hoping to see last year. Well, Waterloo's been really solid this year. They were, I mean, we've referenced the Silver Stick several times here. They were in a really tough group in the Silver Stick, with the JRC and Niagara North, and it was really interesting to watch them play. As they actually only lost 1-0 in that game to the JRC in their first game. And talking to some of the JRC players, they were, it was not an easy game for that JRC team, and it was really interesting to see that aspect and get that from them. And for Waterloo, some players that have looked, for me and for you, I've heard you actually introduced me to this player. It really starts, I think, with that 07 Brady Martin, I think, Ryan.
Oh, Brady Martin's unbelievable. I'm pretty sure, I don't know for sure, but I don't think he's applied for exceptional status. But I mean, he's unbelievable. He's right in the mix there with like Robrook and Misa. Like the 07s is a deep group, but let's focus on the 06s. Won't get sidetracked here. Waterloo, a player that I really, really like that's starting to really grow on me is Creighton Strohack, the defenseman. He's really good. He's big, really efficient defenseman. He moves the puck well, physical, like offensive game is there. You can jump into the play and help out there. He's really good defensively though. He's like kind of a lockdown guy. I really like him a lot. Colton Henderson, he's tall, like he makes things happen. Like he's able to kind of get to space and gets a lot of opportunities to kind of create offense. He's kind of always getting into dangerous areas with the puck. Braden Stump has got some moves. Like he's got some swagger. I like him a lot as well.
Oh, absolutely. And I'll throw in a couple more names here. Actually, one more name in particular. Isaac Lawrence, their captain, has also been really, really impressive this year. And then goaltender, looking in the crease there, Noah Bender, has had a solid season so far for them this year. And they look forward to having an impactful second half of the season. So we're looking forward to catching some more Waterloo as the second half resumes. And as we talked about, as I've mentioned numerous times here, as we move down the standings here.
Wait, one more.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry to cut you off, Connor. I missed this one. I kind of scrolled through my list here. Keaton Bartlett, 44 defenseman, is another one I wanted to mention. He's really solid as well. Just don't want to miss anybody, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And as I scroll down the standings here, no worries. We've mentioned countless times how close it is. I mean, Waterloo's got 22 points. Right below them is Lambton here with 21 points. And Lambton's had a really solid season as well. As you look at Lambton, one of my favorite players actually on Lambton in particular is Evan Van Gorp, who I got to see at the Silver Stick. And for me, he really stood out. He's not the biggest player in stature or height, weight, in that sense. But he was just really not afraid to get in there. He's got some speed to his game, and he's really not. He gets in there and he uses it really effectively to make an impact. And then also at the forward position, Jace Dupuis. We put a highlight up earlier in the season of a little Michigan goal he scored, a little cross goal that he scored earlier in the season. He's been really impactful for them all season long. And on defense, Josh Glavin as well has also been an impactful player for Lambton this year.
Yeah, I think my favorite on Lambton would be Josh Glavin. Whereas the C, really good defenseman, really kind of a stabilizing force and kind of that flagship D that I mean, yeah, like he does a lot. He dictates a lot of the game and shuts a lot of things down for the opposing team when they're trying to attack. Jace Dupuis is good, like really good dangles, like nice kind of. He just creating offense all the time. Seen him make some nice open ice hits too. So he kind of likes to mix it up. And Van Gorp, like I mean, he's pretty dynamic as well. So they're definitely in the mix, right?
Absolutely, and then also, I would be remiss if I didn't also mention their goaltender Hayden Duncan, in particular, who's had some phenomenal performances this year, and he really helped them go on a really strong roll late in the season, late in the first half of the season there, and puts together some big performances in the crease there. So I'd be remiss if I didn't
Yeah.
mention Hayden Duncan in the crease there for them. Um,
Yeah.
So as we move past Lambton here, another team that's right behind Lambton, but also has some games at hand, more so specifically on Lambton, is the Cambridge Hawks. And as we know so well, you and I talked to him earlier in the season on the pod here, friend of the pod and former guest here. They're led by Tyler Graham at the forward position there. Really big skill power forward player there, Ryan.
Oh, Tyler Graham, man, he's one of my favorites. Just so many good plays. I remember a recent one at the Waterloo tournament. He kind of got the puck. He just kind of smoked the guy, grabbed the puck, and made two quick strides, powerful, right to the middle, boom, top shelf. Like when he shoots the puck, you can barely see it, kind of makes it disappear, and which is what you want, right? That goalie can't see it. It's going to go in if it hits the net. And he's a good player. He's really good. I love that he wears 98 too. I love that number. Another one that's really growing on me lately is Reed Forster, defenseman. He's been making some big plays in some recent looks and a lot of big hits, like really physical, really kind of good player. Like I remember when his brother was coming through the draft on the Marlies, Nolan Forster, like he was good too. So like I mean, like good hockey players in the family and just a really good player. And then like they're a pretty good team as well. Can't speak. Pretty deep team as well. I mentioned Jake Skuta. He's good. Cameron Freeze and Nathan Catalano. Just a solid team, right? Like they're a tough game. Like they can hang in there with pretty much anybody, right?
Absolutely. And as we go down the standings here, as we move on from Cambridge, um, it's kind of there's a bit of a gap here between at the bottom of the standings there. You got Kitchener, Sun County, Hamilton, and Chatham Kent also in that mix there. Haven't had the season they necessarily wanted, but I mean they put in their teams whenever you play against them. They've had some really good efforts, high work ethic teams, and they're looking to kind of improve on their season so far. Come the second half of the season, so we definitely look forward to seeing what they can do in the second half of the Alliance season there. So it'll be fun to watch them in the second half as the season resumes here. So that kind of does it for the Alliance there, and kind of a recap of the standings, a little preview of some players to keep an eye on. Kind of a little bit of predictions there for what we see for the in terms of playoffs or OHL Cup status in terms of that. But we'll get into the interviews we got planned. We got to talk to some players. Great interviews for this episode in the Alliance. So we mentioned earlier we got the chance to talk to Lucas Karmiris from the Brantford 99ers, their captain, centerman for them. So without further ado, here's our interview with forward Lucas Karmiris.
All right, we're here with Lucas Karmiris, star forward from the Brantford 99ers. Lucas, how's it going?
It's going good, guys. How about you?
Going pretty good, thanks. I mean, like it's been awesome watching you play this year. You're unbelievable. One of the top players eligible for the 2022 OHL draft. And I mean, the Alliance recognized you. It was a kind of a no-brainer for them. They named you to that U16 All-Star game. I mean, unfortunately, it's not going to take place, but what did it mean to kind of hear your name and hear that you were selected for the event?
Yeah, I think it's such a great honor to get selected to an event like that, and so much talent in the league, and playing in an event like that is awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, yeah, like I said, it's a no-brainer for them to add you there. And like, I mean, your skill, like your game is just really, really good. You're a top prospect, and it starts with that skating. That's a major strength of yours. You have excellent agility and that ability to kind of turn on the jets in a hurry. Like if you get the edge on a guy, you're gone, right? Like what have you done to become such a fantastic overall skater with that tremendous jump and acceleration?
Yeah, I think just practice. In the summer, just working out in the gym and working on that. That acceleration, and even on ice too. Just work on my foot speed, and I think that implementing that in the game, I do use that to my advantage.
Yeah, no, definitely. It helps you in a variety of situations. And I mean, Connor and I saw you together. We were watching you against the Vaughan Kings at the Silver Stick, Connor? And we were just like blown away like every shift, right?
Oh, absolutely. And that's that speed that you have and that skating. And then you use it then to combine it with the skill you have, and your skill is elite. I mean, it's just you make jaw dropping plays every time we see you play. I mean, how have you developed this tremendous puck skills and dangles that you're able to pull off in games there?
Yeah, like I said, just practice. Being able to implement that in a game, it does take a lot of practice, and I do work my hardest, off the ice, and a team practices too. So being able to implement that in the game, like I said, I do use that to my advantage.
Awesome. And I know sticking with the kind of skill theme, I know I mentioned dangles there. If I remember correctly, you managed to pull off a dangle a few years ago that got some like recognition somewhere. What I think I saw it on the NHL Network. What was that whole experience like?
Yeah, I think that was that was a long time ago. That was against Junior Canadians, and I was just got the puck in the neutral zone and went through a couple of guys. It's hard to remember it, but I've seen video. It's kind of funny and whatnot because you don't expect it to go on NHL Network, I guess. But
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, that was a pretty cool moment.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think a lot of kids that's probably a dream come true seeing that kind of highlight on NHL Network there. So that's unreal. And then kind of transitioning from like the skill aspect you have, you also bring like a really strong physical presence on the ice with your physicality and your ability to make big hits. Is that an aspect of your game that's been important for you to kind of implement and be really physical on the ice?
Yeah, I think just be gritty on the ice, and be tenacious too. I think that always giving your opponents less time and space is always a key factor to getting the puck on your stick. So I think that's yeah, I do like to lay the body couple sometimes, but yeah.
Awesome. And it's definitely, I think that ability to be physical and be tenacious, like you mentioned there, is huge, especially just it opens up more ice for yourself and your teammates out there. I know Ryan and I have seen it countless times make hits and then open up space and then create opportunities for yourself and your teammates there, right, Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, you're a complete player. Like, you got the physicality, you got the, like, just kind of check all the boxes, right? It's awesome watching you play. And I'm curious about this one. Do you watch a lot of games in the NHL? I mean, I guess you probably do, right? But
Yes.
like, which, what? That's a stupid question. But what players in the show do you model your game after?
Yeah, I think I try to model my game after Connor McDavid. I think how he's his ability to do everything at top speed, and his ability to take on defenseman one on one. Obviously, you try to model that as a player, and also a player like Mitch Marner. I think how his high IQ and his ability to set up teammates and just make them better. And I think that is also something I try to model in my game.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, both guys with good speed, really, really quick and great hands. Like it kind of is similar to what you do. Like you're I mean, those feet, those hands, it's super quick and super skilled, and it's kind of those aspects of your game are very similar for sure. So let's get into your pregame routine a bit here. Like, what does that look like for you? Do you have any superstitions or anything that you do that's a must?
Yeah, I'm not crazy on superstitions. Definitely, a good warm up for me. I think that I kind of do the same stretches, same routine, and a couple of routines with my teammates too during warm up. But other than that, not really superstitious in that way.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah, like, I mean, the the preparation is important, being ready for the game, being in the right mindset, being physically ready with the stretching and stuff. That's great that you go through that same preparation. But I mean, I don't know what it is about hockey players. A lot of guys are head cases with all the superstitions and stuff. So that's awesome,
Yeah.
Connor. He doesn't have that, eh?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And I mean, as we kind of move away from kind of hockey for a bit, or maybe we'll stick with the sports theme, but if there was one sort of moment from any sport that you could go back in time and either relive or be there live for, what would that be for you?
Yeah, I think reliving a game I went to in the World Cup of hockey tournament in Toronto. I went to Team North America versus Sweden,
Oh,
and that was kind of a historical game there with Matthews and McDavid in the same team, and McKinnon's overtime goal there against Lundqvist. So I think that's a pretty cool moment that I would like to relive.
Oh, that's that was a
Awesome.
terrific game. That I'm kind of I'm jealous of you there that you got to be there for that, and kind of that'd be an insane one to relive, especially with, like you mentioned there, with Max unreal dangle on Lundqvist to seal the deal there for the North Americans. But that'd be an unreal moment to relive there. And sticking with a bit of the sports theme here, but non-hockey related. Do you have a favorite non-hockey athlete?
I would, you know what? I haven't. I wasn't in his time, but Michael Jordan. You know, watching that you know, the Netflix series on The Last Dance, and just how he's, you know, such a animal on the court, and you know, how he pushes his teammates to be better, and how he can just take over a game himself. I think that's you know, that's a high-end athlete. Obviously, that's you know, it's definitely my favorite.
Nice. That's a great pick, and I like that Jordan answer too. I think I don't know. There's always the debate of the goat debate between LeBron and Jordan there, but I think Jordan. Some people would argue he's got the goat.
Yeah, I'd say so. I'm a little older, so I'm definitely on the Jordan side of that one for sure.
Well, that's a great pick with Jordan, with just like you mentioned there with that documentary he had in that regard. But just thanks so much for joining us on the pod here, Lucas. We really appreciate you taking the time. Best of luck with the rest of the season with Brantford. We're looking forward to watching you some more, hopefully, in the Alliance season. And best of luck at the OHL draft.
Yes, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
All right, and we're back from our interview with forward Lucas Karmiris from the Brantford 99ers, and just a phenomenal play overall. As we start off with Lucas, I mean, it goes back when we were first introduced to him. I guess a lot of people were first introduced to him, as we talked about in the interview, when his highlight went up through NHL Network and all that. But when we were first fully introduced to his game in a more in-depth perspective sort of sense, we were first introduced kind of last year when he was combing through some footage looking for 05 players, and you got the chance to check out the All-Star game for the 05s in their bantam year, and he was actually playing up in that for the, I believe it was the 05 Brantford 99ers, and he was in that 05 Bantam All-Star game. And you were the one that brought him up to me, and you were like, oh my gosh, we got to keep an eye on Lucas Karmiris there come this season.
Yeah, like when I was taking notes on that game, I was taking notes on him as a high-end 05. So, like, I mean, he was playing up for a reason. He made that all-star team for a reason. He had a big year that year, and he's kind of picked up where he left off this year. Really, really good player. I haven't had a chance to see them a ton. A lot of their guys I saw mostly in the summer, but we did get to that game, that Waterloo game. That was the only time I've seen them in the season this season. But that game against Vaughan was unbelievable at the Silver Stick and Whippy. Did I say Waterloo?
Yeah,
anyway.
it's all good.
Silver Stick and Whippy. That was an unbelievable game. And like Karmiris was, even though they lost the game, it wasn't due to lack of effort on his part. Like he was absolutely flying around the ice. His stride length is really good. He's just generates so much speed and so much power from his lower body. Extremely explosive. When he's got the puck, it's extremely hard to get it off of him. Really, really good at protecting the puck. When he's down low, he can, when he's got guys on him, he widens his stance and just kind of drives through. And like guys are they're on his back trying to get him, and they're hauling him down for penalties. And like, he's just a nightmare to contain, right?
Oh, absolutely. When you talk about it, a nightmare to contain, he combines that with his finesse and his ability to finish. I mean, the numbers he's put up this season are just unreal. And they were starting off slow, and you just slowly saw him kind of creeping up in terms of the stats and then the scoring race there. He's just had a phenomenal year in that aspect. And I saw him first at this season. Where was it at the Markham tournament in the JRC? And he was a massive part of them almost actually topping the JRC in that game. I mean, the physicality he brought, the way he plays, he combines like the pressure he brings with the skill, his speed. He combines that with a sense of fearlessness and using his body. He's a strong kid. I mean, you talk about his lower body, but he's a strong kid overall, and he really uses that to his advantage out there to be physical, knock guys off the puck, win those puck battles down low, and really win those 50-50 battles and 50-50 battles and come out with the puck there, and then create chances for himself as well as his teammates. And he just sees the ice so well, and sees the ice and uses his teammates so effectively as well, Ryan.
Yeah, like he's great. He's a great checker, whether it's like body checking or stick checks. really, really strong on the puck. Yeah, like always finishes his checks, like not always, but like he does when he should. And he's not going to do the flyby and let the player off the hook. He's going to finish his checks and make them pay for make them pay, right? Like that's what you got to do, because it forces turnovers down the road for your team in the game and kind of keeps the other team on edge. And you can't let him off the hook, and he doesn't do that. Really, really good. Like I noticed when they were on the power play, I liked his decisions on like where he went on the ice, how he kind of kept moving. He moved to different spots. He communicated with his teammates. He said, you go here, as he was moving, to let them know what he was thinking, so they wouldn't get confused. And they had a pretty fluid power play. Like the way he distributes the puck, he moves it quick. Really, really good shot release. He gets it off really quick, and really, really good shot velocity. I think in terms of what he brings offensively with between his shot and the puck skills, just unbelievable passer. Every pass is like hard and on the tape and right on the money. And it's just, there's so much to his game. He's so dynamic. He's got a lot of good dangles, a lot of good moves and dekes, and really, really good with the puck. Like the way he cradles it, takes it in. Like if you pass him an egg, it's not going to break, right?
Little Mighty Ducks reference there. I like it.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
And as we talk about his on ice capabilities, one thing I really like the point you made there, especially referencing his communication. He's got the C on his team too. He's trusted, and he's the captain of their team, and he really puts that to use there with that communication and talking. You can see he's calm, he's cool, he's calm, cool, collected, and he shows that on the ice where there's no panic when he has the puck too. No panic on the ice whether they're down or they're up. He's calm and he's even keel, which is massive, especially as a captain. You want that from your leader. You want someone who's kind of poised under pressure, who can come up big in those big situations for you, which is massive. And he's clearly been able to do that throughout the year this year for Brantford. And they'll be relying on him a lot this season as they look forward to making a big push come the second half of the season there. And for me, as we wrap up on Karmiris here, he's really separated himself, I think, as that top tier, that top player in the Alliance so far. And it's kind of his crown to lose in some sense, for lack of a better word. So really looking forward to seeing him really be the impactful player he is in the season here.
And I don't like to say this typically, but like I don't like to talk rounds, but like you said, just to finish your point, like I'd put him in the first round for sure. At some point in the first round, like there's still a lot to play out, so it's hard to say stuff like that. But like at this point, I'm sure I'd be comfortable with him in the first round. So yeah, he's really made an impact. Like he's really good.
Oh, absolutely. So we'll wrap up on Lucas Karmiris. Once again, as we are, just massive thank you to him for taking the time to join us on the pod. Really appreciate him taking the time. So we'll get in the next player we got the chance to talk to. A defenseman from the London Junior Knights, Brodie McConnell-Barker. Awesome getting to talk to him. Really fun interview. So we're excited to play this one for everyone. So here's our interview with defenseman Brodie McConnell-Barker. All right, we are now joined on the U16 Pod by star defenseman Brodie McConnell-Barker from the London Junior Knights U16 AAA program. Brodie, how's it going?
Good. How are you guys?
Awesome. Pumped to have you on. First off, before we get into your game and everything we love about it, you were selected to play in the 2022 Alliance U16 All-Star game there. And although it isn't taking place, what did it mean to hear you were selected for that event there?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely meant a lot to me because especially playing defense for the first year, it was good that, I was getting noticed, and, hearing my name was honestly an honor because, being selected best of the best for that, those games, it really meant a lot to me. And, it made me feel good, and, seeing some of my other players on my team too, I was happy for them. So it all worked out well. And yeah, sadly it didn't happen, but I was definitely really excited if we actually had the game, but sadly we didn't.
Yeah, it definitely would have been fun to see all those great players and see in that game there. And I mean, you mentioned it there again, talking about defense, and I highlighted it there when I was saying it defense, because it's kind of when we talk about you positioned here, it's almost a bit fluid, and we were talking about it before with you here. I mean, we've seen you play both forward and defense kind of in the summer and defense this season. How have you found transitioning between the two positions, and how have you been able to be so versatile?
Oh yeah, so going back throughout my whole career, I played a majority defense, and then I switched to forward for 3 years. And then this year I went back to defense. So I've had a good experience of playing both positions very well, but no, like transitioning, I found it quite easy, but I wouldn't say too easy, but I would say it was like easier for me to adjust because I've already played that position. But yeah, it's fun to play both. You know, it's quite different because you don't really see that too much. But yeah, I sure do enjoy it.
That's awesome, and it's fun watch. It's fun for us watching players who are able to be so versatile. Because I think Ryan and I talked about it last year with one of the players, Cal Ewens, who's kind of bumped back and forth.
Yeah.
And I think it just highlights your hockey IQ and your intelligence and your ability to go back and forth, which is just incredible. And I know Ryan agrees with me in that respect too.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like it takes a lot of hockey IQ to be able to play both positions. And I mean, you don't look out of place as a forward on that prodigy team in the summer. You're awesome up front, and then yeah, like on defense, I was like, oh, I thought he was a forward. So I played defense, and you didn't look out of place at all. So it's great that you're able to do that. Like you have to have high hockey IQ, but in addition to that, you have to have really, really good skating ability as well to be able to play both positions and play them both well. And with you, your skating ability is so incredible out there on the ice. Like with your speed and quickness on the ice. Like, can you talk to us about how you like to use like just your feet, your speed, your quickness, your skating ability to your advantage in different situations?
Yeah, I would say like I'm a very like up pace kind of player. I like to bring the tempo up, and I like to like make the teammates, bring the energy up. So I'd say like kind of like using my speed, making good plays, quick plays, and kind of like skating out wide, beating defenders, using my heel turns and crossing over, and kind of like getting players like guessing where I'm gonna go and stuff. So I would say, yeah, it's very useful, and I certainly like, using my speed, and I feel like it's a good factor to have. So,
Yeah, no, that's good. Like, I think you like just answered my next question even perfectly. Like, because yeah, like you're that elite puck moving defenseman, right? And like you're really, really, really good at rushing the puck up ice with your excellent speed and skating, but you're also able to make like really nice stretch passes to your forwards up front. Like, just your ability to facilitate like the like the breakout and like push the pace up ice, like that puck moving defenseman. Like, how have you been able to become so good at all that stuff?
well, it's been a lot of training, obviously with my brothers too. I got an older brother, Blake
Yeah.
McConnell-Barker, and then obviously Bryce McConnell-Barker, who's with the Sioux. So, yeah, there's been over the summer, these past couple of summers, I've been going down to Tennessee with my cousins, because my cousins live down here. So I've been training with them in the gym and on the ice, kind of working with them. They're like my age. One of them's an 05 and one of them's 03. But kind of getting like the whole McConnell-Barker, like, I don't know, cousins and everyone in there, kind of brings up the intensity, seeing my brothers, and I'm obviously the youngest one. So I always get like punished, it's always competitive. So I'd say just like working with them, they obviously teach me a lot of stuff, and I learn from them. I watch their games, and yeah, so just basically training, putting in hard work, and kind of, watching the NHL too, watching players, because I think that's very important. I feel like you should be watching, because you can't just learn everything on your own. I think it's good that you learn like even from like your brothers or NHL players, so, or any general players that you think you enjoy watching.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. That's great that you learned like from your brother and your family members there, because I know Connor and I would agree. Like, you can't have that McConnell-Barker on your name bar if you're not an excellent skater, right, Connor?
No, those family games, those family games must be intense, eh? Just
Oh yeah, that goes even to mini sticks too. It's been I've been flipped over the couch a couple times, and that didn't end up well. So
how many times do you think your parents have had to be like, hey, tone it down here, tone it down?
we've done it too many times. But I would say my parents after started like kept on saying stop, stop, and then they kind of had enough of that. So then, I would sometimes start stuff, I'd be a little obnoxious. So they would, be like, all right, well, you kind of deserve that. So they wouldn't say anything. And I'll
Yeah.
take the beam there. So yeah,
Oh,
I mean, yeah, it's crazy.
oh, I
It's
love
really
that.
competitive.
That's awesome. That's incredible having that little family rivalry and that dynamic going there. That's awesome. And you mentioned there as well, kind of watching other players and watching the NHL. Are there any players in the NHL you model your game after?
Yeah, definitely. I would say Eric Carlson and Kale McCarr. And I would also say for forwards as well, I would say I like watching McKinnon as well.
Oh, those are few studs right there. McCarr especially. I absolutely love watching that guy skate. I could watch him skate all day with his edge work and the way he moves. And then McKinnon with the power he has. Just three incredible guys to watch and take things from in that respect as well. And then we'll move away from hockey here a bit, kind of get to know you off the ice some more. What's your favorite TV show or any TV shows you've kind of binged that you really liked recently?
Oh, TV shows. To be honest, I'm more of a YouTube guy. I don't really watch TV shows, but I kind of got into with my brother. I was watching Big Mouth. Not sure if
Okay.
that's what it's called. Anyway, there's some new episodes. My brothers were like, "Oh, come on, watch this with me." So I watched that with them. Family Guy, all those kind of I watched. But like, there's not really I like extremely enjoy. I just kind of watch. And I'm like,
Yeah. Which
just watching it.
you said you're a big YouTube guy. Any YouTubers that are a must for you that you always kind of just tune in on?
Yeah, I'm more of like so I obviously watch like hockey videos. Hey Barber I watch.
Ooh.
Like his stick handling, and then I also I'm not sure if you guys heard of this guy, but he's Rob Talks Hockey, and he talks all about hockey and like the status and like really interesting stuff that like I didn't know. And then like I don't know, I just kind of watch him and I find it interesting. So those are those main two I mainly watch.
That's sick. Couple must watches for everyone watching here. A couple must subscribes, I think there. People who got to tune in on, especially if you're hockey fans there. That'll be sick, Ryan.
Yeah, no, definitely. And you're going to be making your YouTube, a YouTube appearance. You're probably on there with some highlights and some various things, but you're making an appearance here. So that'll be cool for you to check out if you like YouTube so much. And yeah, like just staying with like the social media. So if you could only have one social media app, which one would you want to keep?
Oh, that's a good question. I know I kind of lead it into YouTube, but I would say Snapchat, just so I can kind of communicate with my friends, because it's always good talking to them and staying connected with people and friends. So I would say that's probably a must on there. But yeah, that's a good question though. That's a tricky one. Like it depends on the scenario. So I would go with Snapchat though.
I like that.
Yeah, no, that's good. I'm too old for Snapchat. I don't have a Snapchat. I don't know how to log into it. Like I don't have it. I've never seen it. So you got me there. I'm way too old for that. I'm showing my age too much, eh, Connor?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Dude, Ryan always showing his age there. Sorry about that,
Embarrassing.
Ryan. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. But no, Snapchat's a good one. Are you a big streaks guy or
Oh no, I kind of just I don't really I only use it to really communicate if I'm going somewhere, but no, I'm not really a streaks guy. I think a lot of my friends think streaks is like the main priority. They're like, you have to snap me right now. Like we need to keep our streak going, the timer's going. So I'm like, all right, yeah, you can get a snap.
no, that's
Nice.
that's like me where I'm like on Snapchat. Someone will snap me, I'll be like, I'll close it and they'll be like, yo, why didn't you snap me back? I'm like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like,
That's
no,
fine.
no. See if I can get you to throw anyone here. Who do you think who's the biggest snapper on your team there on the junior Knights there? Who do you think's the biggest snapper?
Oh man. I would say like in the group chat, I would have to go with Aggie, Nolan Eggleton. He likes to really spin up the chat in the group chat. He puts a lot of stuff in there, a lot of memes and all that. And, I feel like he's a guy who like really puts a lot of effort into our group chat. And I don't think the boys really appreciate how much he's doing for us. So it keeps conversations going. Everyone just like, oh, you're spamming too much. He's just trying to be good and help us out. So.
Hey,
That's funny. That's funny.
Big glue guy. That's a big thing. You always got to have the glue guy, I think, Ryan?
Yeah, no, for sure. Like I heard that there's a limit. I don't know anything about it, but someone was saying there's a limit. You can only do like 3 a day. That's like the most you can do. But I don't know. I don't know all the social media rules. I don't know. I'm too old for that. But anyways, into the next one here. This is an interesting one. I like asking this one. What is one object or item you could not live without?
Oh, that's a good one. That's tough. I'd probably say
I like these ones.
probably skates. Either skates, so I can just keep on skating for the rest of my life. Fine, wherever, or in hockey stick. But I think I would go with skates because I just like that skating feeling, and it's brings me more related to hockey. But I would just go with hockey skates.
I like that.
Yeah,
That's
for
a
sure.
great
Like,
pick.
yeah. I mean, like the stick, I could see that because you've got the hands, you've got the dangles, you're good with the stick, good puck skills, good player. But I mean, for you, the calling cards, that's skating. Like you're really, really good skater, and so it doesn't surprise me you picked skates. So that's great. I think both. You're good with both. So we'll let you keep both. Anyways, thanks so much, Brodie, for jumping on the pod. I mean, it was great to talk to you, get to know you a little bit, and learn more about your game and all that stuff. So just at the U16 Pod, we want to wish you very best of luck this year, the rest of the season. Hopefully you guys get back to playing soon, and best of luck at the OHL draft.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
And we're back from our interview with Brodie McConnell-Barker, defenseman with the London Junior Knights there. And phenomenal talking to him. I love learning. I mean, we talked about it with him in the sense, the versatility he brings on the ice. I mean, we saw him in the summer. I got the chance to see him in the summer with you as well, where he was actually playing the forward position, and then come the regular season, see him playing defense, and you're like, oh, okay, which position is he? But he talked about it. I mean, he's versatile. He has the experience playing that both positions there. He's comfortable. And it really just highlights, we talked about it, and it really highlights his intelligence, his hockey IQ. And we talked about it last year in the sense with Cal Ewens, too, last year in that 05 group, and how he was so high, his ability to shift between the positions. And now Cal, for much of his, I guess at this point, Bantam year, he was playing center and he was playing forward. Now he's playing defense with the Owen Sound attack. So you see that versatility and you see that ability to take the coach's instructions and take everything you're given and apply that to your game and be so effective. You see that with Brodie McConnell-Barker and what he's able to do on the ice there.
Yeah, it's really important to be versatile. Like just based on the work I'm doing in the player advisory business, I'm looking at lineups a lot more. And I was surprised actually how many times like a D is like on the wing, or like maybe a forward has to play D. Like teams really need that flexibility because when you get riddled with injuries, you need guys that can step into the lineup and aren't going to hinder you. And that Cal Ewens reference is perfect. Like the versatility, I think there's two things it takes to be a versatile player. The hockey IQ and understanding of the game has to be elite. And then the skating as well. Being an elite skater, very like able to kind of shift and move and stay in position, right? Like not getting caught out of position and having that mobility to get to where you need to be quickly. And when you get out of position, getting back there. So Brodie's got both of those things. Like that's why he's so good at it. Like the hockey sense is really, really high end. You can tell watching him play. And yeah, like I was really confused because like he was so good at forward. And then I saw him playing D and I was like, is he a D? And then I kept thinking about it, and I'm like, man, he's good at D too. Like he could play either. He could go wherever. So I think he's sticking with D. It sounds like he's playing there for his U16 year, and But he doesn't mind. He'll go where the coach puts him. I think he said that, right? Did he tell us
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, he did. And it really just highlights, I mean, talking about the two attributes there. For me, I also tossed in their coachability. And for me, that's
I love that.
That's one of the biggest qualities. I mean, talking to my past coaches and, when I played with it, whatever sport it was, I mean, one of the sports I played was baseball. One of the coaches really looked forward to, one of the things he looked for in his players was that coachability. You want players that can take those instructions and that advice and apply it to their game and not be closed-minded in that sense. And he's an open kid and he's an outgoing kid and he's definitely coachable.
Yeah, he is.
As you reference his skating there, that is one of his biggest attributes and one of his biggest strengths is that skating. I mean, that straight line speed, that lateral quickness, it's just phenomenal. We've seen him use it countless times in his ability to kind of escape pressure, separate from the opposition, accelerate, and then move in open space and create more space for himself, and then apply his kind of his edges and his ability to kind of ease up to change his pace and then create more space for himself, and then find a way to make passes to his teammates in that sense.
Yeah, no, unbelievable. Those are great points, and he's good with the puck too. He's got good skill, good hands, really smooth, right? Great hands, like able to kind of make moves with it. Kind of like works well in tight areas, I'd say. Like he's kind of a good small area kind of guy. So yeah, like really efficient player. Like doesn't turn over the puck, makes smart decisions. Like you mentioned all the intangibles. Like it was a pleasure to meet him, honestly. Like, and I think whatever team drafts him is going to be really fortunate and get a really good player. Like sometimes we can't pick up on the intangibles all the time because you kind of need to ask the right questions and figure stuff out. We don't have a lot of time with the players, but whenever I do pick up on those intangibles, those are huge. Like those are huge things. And he's really elite. Like he's a defenseman, but I mean, not many defensemen can finish like he can, like on a breakaway, let's say.
Yeah.
He could be a defenseman that on an OHL team, like down the road when he gets older or whatever, like even though he's a defenseman, a coach might throw him over the boards in a shootout, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And he's got that two-way aspect to his game with the skating and his puck moving ability.
Yeah.
Whether it be his ability to quarterback in the offensive zone or move the puck up ice from the D zone. He can take the puck up ice himself or move it with his passing. I've seen him make nice little slip passes, little short passes on the breakout, or make a nice pass up the middle, finding that lane and hitting it right on the money. And so he's got that two-way aspect, which is massive. He can contribute offensively. He's not a liability defensively, which is massive. So he's got that two-way aspect, and we've talked about it countless times now. The intangible aspects are there. I mean, he'd be a great teammate. Any team that drafts him, like you said, will be lucky to have him. And I mean, we were lucky to have him on the pod.
Yeah, he's got a good build, good stature, and really balanced on his skates. Like he's really good on his skates. So I think that about wraps it up for Brodie. Probably could go on and on more about him, but yeah. So what's the next interview we got there?
Yeah. It was just, once again, thanks so much to Brodie for hopping on the pod with us. Really appreciate him taking the time. And our next interview is with goaltender Connor Davis. The Windsor Jr Spitfires. Phenomenal getting to talk to Connor. So without further ado, here's the interview with another fellow Connor Davis.
All right, we're here with Connor Davis, star goalie from the Windsor Jr Spitfires. Connor, how's it going?
Good. How are you guys?
Pretty good, thanks. Yeah, it's been fun watching you play this season. I mean, you're one of the top goalies up for the 2022 OHL draft, and the Alliance, the brass there, they recognized you and named you that 2022 U16 All-Star game. Although, like, unfortunately, it's not going to be taking place. Like, what did it mean to hear you were selected for the event?
I mean, it's obviously an honor. I mean, there's a ton of good goalies in our league. It's a little unfortunate we don't get to play in it, obviously, but I mean, just seeing my name there, it does mean a lot. Yeah,
no, for sure. Yeah, I mean, your team, the Windsor Jr Spitfires, like, you guys have had a great season so far, and probably one of the bigger things that happened for you guys was you won that Waterloo Gold Puck tournament this season, and so congrats on that. That was awesome.
Thank you.
And you yourself, like, you played in both the semifinals and the finals, and you got a shutout against the Don Mills Flyers, the G in the championship game. So that was pretty sick. Like, how did it feel to take down that title with your squad?
It was good. I mean, the whole tournament was such a great experience. And then to come out with the win, I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. I mean, going against some good teams, Cambridge in the semis and then Don Mills in the finals. I mean, to come away with the win, it was a good team battle. And I mean, I wouldn't change anything about it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, it was a good tournament for your team, and you guys showed really well. And like, I mean, you yourself, like, great performance. It was awesome. And yeah, like, I mean, you've had a great year so far. Like, Connor caught you at the silver stick, right, Connor?
Oh, absolutely. And it's just been unreal watching you play. And you've had some big time performance this year. I mean, Ryan just mentioned with the shutout in the final there. I mean, as we talk about it and we kind of get into your game here, if you could kind of describe your game as a goalie in 3 words, what words would you use and why?
3 words. I would say consistent being 1. I would say 2, confident, and I would say either calm or relaxed for 3. Consistent meaning not just in games, but I mean that consistent effort in practice and that consistent focus in practice and at home as well, training. I mean, that allows me to have a good chance to be consistent in the games. And then also that kind of, I guess, kind of goes into the confidence. I mean, the confidence comes from knowing I've done the work, and I guess that kind of ties into calm as well. Calm, it's just knowing that I've put in that consistency and the focus and the work ethic and practice at home, and then that allows me to be confident and calm in the game. So I'd say those would be my 3.
Awesome. I think that's huge. With the consistency, especially being able to have that routine and being consistently putting that work ethic. And then it's definitely translated in the game with your performances and tremendous goaltending performances you've had this year.
Thank
I
you.
mean, just kind of go as a goalie. I mean, when I grew up, obviously you had like the rotation of goalies and stuff, and not everyone's made to be a goalie or necessarily is made for the position. What drew you or inspired you or made you want to become a goaltender?
It was actually my mom, which comes a little bit of surprise because I played soccer when I was younger, and I played out, but I liked playing goalie as well, and I was pretty good at it. And when I went to go to skating, like the eval to go like try out for a house like the players or whatever, and in that I was ranked the 2nd worst skater out of all the kids. So my mom was like, well, you don't get to do much skating in the crease, so why don't we just put him in goalie, like he's playing goalie in soccer. So that's where that kind of came from.
Ooh, that's cool. That's interesting. I like that's kind of a fun thing. I was seeing how it kind of starts in soccer and translates. So that's a really fun story, I think, and really provides some perspective. And also, I think I love hearing those stories of different people, and what draws people to different positions. And I think Ryan would agree. It's just an awesome kind of story, and hearing that from you there.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like, I always want to hear those background for how you get into being a goalie, and because yeah, like, I mean, like, not a lot of guys are goalie, right? There's only like 2 on every team, and everyone else plays out. So it's always interesting to hear those stories. And then also another one we like to ask goalies, because like, I mean, you guys are a bit different, like different superstitions and stuff. So like as a goalie, like what do your pregame routines or like pregame preparations look like?
I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. I do have a routine, like just kind of hand-eye, kind of get the legs moving, some dynamic stretching, basically everything a normal player would do with just a little bit of hand-eye. And I mean, it also I like meditation a lot, and I'll meditate for about half an hour before every game, before I head to the rink. And I'll meditate a little bit before the game as well. So that's probably what I would say would be my pregame ritual. Would probably be those things.
Yeah, that's awesome. Actually, I'm a big meditation guy. I do it all the time, like once a day at least. And and it helps. Like, I mean, it helps you face whatever the task at hand is, and during the day, it helps you face it with a clear mind, and you can kind of pause and not kind of get rattled in certain circumstances. And I think that's good for goalies to not get rattled. And you mentioned that in the question Connor asked you, at the 3 words to describe your game. And yeah, that's awesome that you use that as a practice. I think it's gonna like serve you well. You keep doing it. Because yeah, it's like anything else, like meditation. With more practice, you just get better and better at it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, that's awesome stuff. Are there any goalies in the NHL that you model your game after?
I wouldn't say I'd model my game after anybody. I just watch a lot of hockey, and I'll just take certain things I like from certain goalies and I'll try and make it my own. But I wouldn't say my favorite goalie is Tuukka Rask. I'm a Bruins fan.
Okay.
I'm not really modeling my game after him per se. I'm just kind of, I like a few things he does there. And then another goalie I like is Frederik Andersen. So I'll just say, for example, I like his RVH play. So I would say I would take something from him, and I just watch a lot of hockey, and I take certain things from certain guys. But I wouldn't say I'd model my game completely after somebody.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. Like, I mean, one of the hardest things for being a scout is when people ask you for comparables, right? And then you're like, I kind of think, okay, like who is he like? And then it's kind of like you're a combination of a bunch of different guys. So like every player is unique. You're a one of one. There's only one Connor Davis out there, right? So yeah, that's awesome. I love that answer that you just kind of take like bits and pieces from different guys. That's good stuff, eh? Connor, the other Connor?
Yeah, it's awesome hearing that, because I like that uniqueness, because everyone, like Ryan mentioned, everyone's got their own style and that sort of thing. And I'll also say, you mentioned you're a Bruins fan there, and you've got an edge over Ryan and I in the sense that we're a couple of Leafs fans here. So you've got the edge in the playoff wins category.
I went and saw them this year live, and the Leafs won the game. So
Okay,
guys, I gotta throw that in there.
He's got his beating where it matters though, with a couple playoff victories in Game 7 though.
Yeah.
So, as Ryan kind of talked about the NHL though, with any goaltender, I'm sure there's always a player of any generation, any level, that goalies kind of wince a bit, or kind of do a double take if they're coming down on a shootout attempt or breakaway attempt. What is there any player of any generation, any level, that if they were to come down on a breakaway or shootout attempt, that you'd kind of be like, oh, okay, maybe be a bit scared of in some sense?
Honestly, I don't think so. I mean, I just love the challenge. I mean, I'd take anybody. I mean, if it's Chara taking a slap shot, if it's, I mean, Kaner coming down doing some sort of, I don't know, 500 toe drags or stick handles. I mean, it's just, I mean,
that's awesome.
It's just kind of, I just love the challenge. I mean, I'd love to go against anybody. I don't think I'd necessarily fear anybody at all. I don't think.
That's awesome. I love that fearlessness. That's awesome. That's huge. I mean, the Chara slapper definitely would not be fun to face, but it's definitely, I love that perspective you bring there. And then kind of going a bit away from hockey here for a bit. If you could transform into any animal for 24 hours, which animal would you choose to be?
I would say probably a peregrine falcon. Yeah. And
nice.
The reason for that is they are the fastest, I believe they're the fastest bird and animal of like ever.
Wow.
Like they travel, I think I did a project on them, that's why I know what they are, but they travel, they can get up to 300 kilometers per hour or something like that. Yeah. And I mean, just being able to fly or whatever too. I mean, I would say that would probably be my thing. Or the lion, I mean, king of the jungle, but pick or choose. I mean, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, holy jeez. So the peregrine, hey, you wouldn't be late for anything if you're in that situation there anymore. So that'd be that'd be an awesome pick there. And then another fun one here. I don't know if you're a video game guy or anything, but do you have a go-to kind of video game console, PlayStation or Xbox, or what's kind of your go-to there?
It's funny. My friends make fun of me because I'm so bad at video games. Like I'm just really bad. I don't know why. I don't play very much, but when I do, it's hard to find somebody to play with because they don't want to play with me. I'm that bad.
Yeah.
But I play Xbox when I do, and I play NHL. The NHL is the only game I'm good at, which is funny. It's the only game I'm actually decent at. Everything else, I mean, I can't find somebody to play with.
Hey, I'm in the exact same boat. So
Yeah.
you will not see any judgment. I remember someone asked me if I wanted to play like Warzone or something. I was trying to like shoot, and I was like, okay, this is not going very well. And they were like,
Yeah.
okay, you're gonna screw up my score. And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
you take that.
Yeah.
I'll just stick with NHL and all that.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you play with with the Windsor boys very much?
I do, yeah. I got a few of them I play with. I mean, most of them won't play with me, but I got a few that I'll I got a few that I'll play
That's
with
funny.
for a
Who
bit.
would-
Yeah.
Who would you say is the best? Who think's got the crown on the junior Spitfires there?
I haven't seen it, but I've heard Kyle Jones, defenseman. I've heard
Okay.
he's got the best hockey ultimate team on the
Ooh,
squad. He's
nice.
really good.
That's a good little insight there. Kyle Jones there got a little
Yeah.
Bell crown there. So
He's got a good squad.
definitely, if anyone faces him, better watch out there in that respect. So that's awesome. Honestly, just as we wrap up here, it's been awesome talking to you, Connor. Just best of luck the rest of the season with Windsor. Hopefully, we get to see you on the ice again sometime. And just best of luck at the OHL draft as well. Thanks so much for coming on the pod.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's fun.
And we're back from our interview with goaltender Connor Davis from the Windsor Jr Spitfires. And starting with looking in net there, he's been a big part of that Windsor Jr Spitfires team this season. He's come up with some massive performances for them, and I mean you referenced it, I think, with him in the interview there. I mean, it's big win in the Waterloo tournament there, helping his team take that Waterloo Gold Puck tournament crown there. And it was a big shutout in the final there against a tough Don Mills Flyers team, Ryan.
Yeah, he got the semifinal and the final game. So he helped lock down that tournament for his team, and really good goalie. Like I could see why he got those 2 games. He's just really unbelievable. He's got good size. Like I think he's 6 foot plus, but I don't know exactly how big he is, but he's got good size and he looks big in the net, and he makes himself big in the net. Like he's always in great position. I got a little background info on him and his training. He's worked with a bunch of different goalie coaches over the years. So technically he's quite polished, and yeah, like he's able to get to his spots and get to his points that he needs to be. And it just gives you a better chance like to make a save when you're in the right position, and he's there. Really explosive too. Like he's really athletic. Really, really good, like at making second, third saves, and keeping it like he makes big saves. Like there's been some highlight reel kind of saves where he's kind of, I don't know, like you throw the pad out on a breakaway and just stop a really, really high end breakaway move. Like saves that are way above average, way better than like he's gonna get drafted. I'm almost certain he's gonna get drafted fairly high. I think teams are going to really like what they see when they evaluate his game.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, as you talked about the tangible sort of aspects in terms of his athleticism and his technical stuff in the crease there, you also look at it, he's calm, he's cool, and he brings that consistency for his team as well in the crease there. I mean, for me, the big thing that really highlighted was his calmness. I mean, talking to him, he's calm, he's poised, he's intelligent, he has that hockey sense, and he's got that IQ that he brings. But that calmness is huge, I think, in the crease. I mean, it can get chaotic there. Let's be real. Like,
Yeah.
Once that puck gets to the front of that, one wrong bounce, one little deflection, and it's chaos in front of the crease there. And I mean, you watch goalies. I mean, being down here in Niagara, I've watched Josh Rosenzweig in the crease, and that guy's going nuts down their crease. And I mean, I got a lot of respect for goalies because playing NHL, the video game, I can't play goalie in that video game. So I'm like, I cannot do it in real life. And then you watch him. And the calmness he plays with, his ability to kind of react under pressure, stay calm, find the puck, and then make that save. And when he makes that first save, like you mentioned, use his athleticism, combine it with the calmness and the poise, and then make that second save, that third save, and so on. And kind of come up big in those big time situations and make a big clutch save for his team is massive. And he's able to do that consistently this season. That consistency is massive. He's got a routine. He's really he's level headed. He's got that aspect where, hey, I got a routine, I'll follow it. And then once I'm in it, he keeps going and going, and it's worked for him this season. He's had big performances for Windsor, and it's been huge for him.
Yeah, and I like that video game reference because when I play Chell, like I'll press the wrong button on a breakaway or wig out real bad and miss one too. So you're not the only one. Like I like when he mentioned the poise and everything. He talked about how he meditates, and I think that's like a huge thing for a goalie to work on, that like mental strength, because like meditation is something that a lot of people in this world are closed-minded to, but like personally for me, I've done a lot of it. I love it, and it just kind of changed my perspective on life and able to pause and to be poised and calm in certain situations. I like anyone else, I still have a lot of work to do, but like I like that for a goalie, and especially for a young goalie. Like you don't hear too many 16-year-olds that are sitting around meditating, and it sounds like he does it all the time. So I think that stuff is really, really good. To figure that out at a young age, that stuff is beneficial, and to like he practices, like he said it helps him in his life. Like we asked him after the interview was done about that, and it helps him just deal with situations. And like being an OHL goalie is hard. You referenced the Niagara goalie Rosenzweig. Like it's not easy, right? Like being calm and poised is huge. And when he plays the puck really well. Like he's got good skills in terms of that, and he's smart with where he puts it. Like he doesn't panic, really, really poised. And yeah, he's just a really good goalie. Like just the way he makes good, he's got a great glove. I've noticed a lot of big glove saves. And he also uses his stick effectively. So like when the guy's behind the net or just off to the side of his net, he uses the paddle really well to knock away passes. Just various little things, the poke check, a lot to like about his game. Yeah, just really, really good prospect for the draft.
Absolutely. And honestly, you hit the nail on the head there. I love the aspect of the mental points you made about being level-headed, which is massive for any goaltender with the ups and downs that come with the position. So
Yeah.
honestly, you echoed a lot of the sentiments. Well, you said a lot of stuff I was thinking. So great mindset I like there. So that wraps kind of our set of interviews up. Once again, big thanks to Connor Davis for coming on the pod. Really appreciate him taking the time. Big thanks to Brodie McConnell-Barker and Lucas Karmiris as well again for taking the time to come on the pod. We really appreciate these guys taking the time to come on. We know they're really busy players and really busy people off the ice as well. So we appreciate them taking the time. And yeah, so once again, like we usually do, definitely be sure to follow us on our social media channels, Twitter and Instagram at the U16 Pod. Feel free to follow myself on Twitter and Instagram at cwilliams_384. You can follow Ryan on Twitter and Instagram at Ryan P. MacArthur. You can also, if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And if you're listening on whatever podcast platform you listen on, don't forget to hit that download and like button on there as well. We always love seeing those likes and subscribes and those likes and downloads. So definitely looking forward to that. But definitely looking forward to the next episode we have on the U16 Pod. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening to this episode of the U16 Pod.
Yeah, take care, everybody.